genre.
In the world of Hollywood, movies get greenlit and redlit. They get remade and rebooted. But we are the ideal. I'm Sam Gasch, and you are listening to Ideal Remake. Thank you for listening to Ideal Remake. We take movies that either have been, will be, or should be remade and talk about what the ideal version of that remake would be. I know today's episode is big, but you should see the toast. I couldn't get it through the door. But Myles, is Uncle Buck a movie that has been, will be, or should be remade?
It is a movie that should be remade.
Cool, great. Welcome to Ideal Remake, Myles.
Hello, hello.
So for anyone listening who doesn't instantly recognize your voice, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, my name is Myles Warden. I am a WJ writer. I focus mostly in comedy. Sitcom is my love and passion. Worked on a couple of shows. One is on Netflix. Please go check it out. It's called Act Your Age, starring Yvette Nicole Brown, Kim Whitley, and Tisha Campbell. Other than that, I am a huge John Hughes fan, so when you approached me with the list and I saw a John Hughes title, I try to... I'm inspired by him in everything that I do because he just was perfect with coming-of-age stories, and everything that I try to write, I think, is a coming-of-age story. I don't believe coming-of-age only means, like, teenager to adult. I think it can mean, like, when you get the kids out of the house and now you're single and childless, or like whatever, like different stage of life you're going through, I feel like is a coming of age story. But like when I first started learning how to write, I studied literally every single movie he did, and this was one of those movies. So I'm excited to chat.
That's fun. So you remember the first time you saw Uncle Buck?
Yes.
Do you, since
I don't know if it was the first time. I remember, but I studied it again when I first started writing. I saw it very early on. I do not recall the first time. I was very little.
That's good. I mean,
yeah,
is it the sort of movie that like your parents would like introduce you to? Like, come on, we're gonna watch Uncle Buck. That's really sweet.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I saw it too. I've talked before on this podcast about how like part of the reason why I'm doing this is because it forces me to watch movies I otherwise hadn't seen.
Yeah,
that's not the case for this movie. I remember I was at Target with my dad and we were walking past the like checkout aisle DVD selection. He was like, "Hey Sam, have you seen any of John Candy movies?" I said no, and he bought me a 3-pack DVD of Uncle Buck, The Great Outdoors, and some third one that I don't remember the name of. I could go grab it off the shelf, but it doesn't matter. And so this was very much my dad made me watch this movie, and he was right. I loved Uncle Buck instantly.
It's so good. I mean, every one of his movies is so good, but this one in particular, like the cast, I feel like was great.
Yeah,
the story was simple. His stories are always like very simple, but just like perfectly executed. Mm-hmm. Like not too much, not too little. Like I miss these type of movies where it's just a very simple plot, nothing too crazy. I'd forgotten most of it because it's got to be at least a decade since I've seen the movie. Yeah, and like just sitting down and watching, I was like, oh, it's incredibly sweet. Yeah. The picture on the cover is a complete lie. That's not the movie at all. I don't... Yeah, I'm not sure how they selected that as the cover as well.
It's a good cover. It tells a great story. Not this story.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's just a really sweet, just a guy stepping up and doing the right thing.
Yeah. I also forget like how much of it, like, which is a genre of things that are missing, where like there's so much humor for children, but there's also so many jokes only for adults. And since I watched it mostly as a child, I forgot how many adult jokes there were. Like there's whole entire bits that are only for
like
adults.
The washing machine.
So that was exactly where I was going. Like the washing machine bit is so funny, but like
so
as a kid, like you're watching it for the surface level, like physical humor. But then as an adult, you see the whole extra layer of she thinks he's in there with a woman, and like it's just so crazy.
Yeah, I genuinely was sitting there watching that, thinking it was really funny, and just trying to remember what I thought the bit was when I was a kid, because it's gone. Because I clearly would have had no idea.
No idea. It just went straight over our head.
And then like I kind of understood when she came back and was like really thirsty, but like.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have got that. I was just like, it's clearly he's with a different woman and that's not allowed.
Right.
Men can't hang out with women, and that's what we're learning.
Yeah. Everybody knows men can't be friends with women.
That is... I mean, that's kind of the idea of the movie. That happens twice, but...
It does.
But yeah, so like this is the second John Hughes movie I've covered, and easily the better of the two.
What was the other?
Bridget Marshall was on, and we talked about 16 Candles.
Okay, yeah. Didn't age as well.
No.
Yeah.
It certainly has its moments, but that one falls into a lot of the tropes of the time.
Yeah.
And this one feels a lot more timeless.
Yeah.
That's why I think this one's been on my list for so long, is you can modernize this one easily.
Very easily, and wouldn't have to change much.
No, introduction of cell phones doesn't change anything.
Doesn't really step on anything. Yeah.
The
internet, nothing really
no
affects much outside of maybe they FaceTime their parents.
Yeah. And that's really I have a couple questions about the movie, but fundamentally the biggest question I have is if Grandpa's dying, why don't the kids go? So
that's exactly where I was going to go for the remake, because I'm that there's no real logistical reason for why these kids can go. And also in today's world, and honestly even more so back then, I was surprised that they just didn't let the older teenager handle the house.
Right.
Typically, that could have been basically the first Home Alone, where these three kids are left here. Well, their parents are gone.
The last episode I did was Labyrinth, where it's, oh, you're a teenager, you're in charge of the baby.
Yeah. And these kids are older than that, so you'd think that the teen would be able to take care of an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old.
And to be fair, Labyrinth was one night, and this is for we don't know how long a period of time.
Exactly.
But how old is Tia?
Yeah.
Because if she's 15 and doesn't have a driver's license...
Right.
I get it.
Right.
And she never drives the car at all, right?
I don't...
But also, there isn't a car for her to drive. That's why the John Candy Mobile is out going around.
Right, exactly. So, who knows?
But also, why didn't they leave the car? What'd they do? Did they drive to Indiana?
Yeah, so many questions
or Indianapolis
were unanswered, honestly, which I also appreciate about movies back then.
Yeah.
We didn't care. They just got into the plot.
Yeah,
There's
it doesn't
so
matter.
many questions that we can ask about why this is happening, but they just get straight into it so fast that you don't even have time to really
They must
contemplate.
have driven back. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. I can't imagine why they would want to leave a car at an airport for weeks at a time.
They had
because
to.
They didn't talk about booking a flight. Oh, no, they did talk about booking a flight.
Yeah.
Did they talk about booking a flight?
I thought they did. So yeah,
whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Look,
again.
we needed the comedy to happen, and therefore the comedy happened.
That's pretty much how things worked back then.
We're kind of dancing around it. We should do a quick walkthrough of the movie. I don't know how much there is for us to cover in broad strokes,
right.
but Myles, how does the movie get started?
Okay, well, the movie gets started, as you mentioned, where their grandfather is dying.
He has a heart attack. I assume he gets better. Otherwise, they would be going to Indianapolis
things are
for
unclear,
a funeral.
which you would think the kids would go, but also you would think if Grandpa's going, Grandpa's maybe not doing well, you'd think the kids would still go, even if to just cheer him up. You'd think he'd want to see his grandkids, but again, we don't know. But Grandpa's not doing well, so the parents decide that they have to go, and they have no one to watch the children. Initially, they wanted. Who was it? They wanted someone else initially.
Something with an M. It was the Minskys or something.
Yeah, some other person they wanted
some other family that family friends who are never in the movie.
Yeah. So we never met them, but they were not available to do it. So
because they were in Hawaii.
Yeah. So against the mother's wishes in particular, they have to call Uncle Buck. Who...
So it's of this family, the Russells, and they've recently moved to this non-specified. They came from Indianapolis, but now they're in
wherever
this town,
USA.
Yeah, it seems nice, and I don't know why they moved to that town. Presumably for work, but it also happens to be that that's a town in a region at least where the dad's brother also lives. So it makes sense that they're new in this town. They don't know that many people, so of course that they have no one else to call except Uncle Buck.
Right.
Basically, they've moved to the town, which gives us two premise assists. Of they don't know anyone, so they have to call the uncle, and the daughter is real mad about them having moved.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that she seems to be doing okay.
Fantastic.
And has a boyfriend. If there had been a boyfriend back in Indianapolis...
That would make sense.
But no.
They decided to make her completely happy with this asshole boyfriend guy.
Yeah.
But, why is she so unhappy if she has basically... what you would want as a teenager? I don't know.
It's friends. A mystery.
Right.
I mean, to be fair, we don't know that she has friends. We see her with other people, but we never meet them.
True.
But that's going to be one of my pitches for later. But yeah, so they're in this town. The parents have to go. The grandfather had a heart attack. Mom and dad peace out. Uncle Buck shows up to help take care of them. And then he and the teenage daughter immediately are at odds. And basically, they're the antagonistic force to each other.
Yep.
But prior to that, Uncle Buck, played by John Candy, is having a conversation with his girlfriend, Shanice Kablowski.
What a name.
Fantastic. About how he's not ready to commit and marry her or have a kid, and they're getting up there in years.
Yeah.
He's 40, and she's also around that age. I
Yeah.
think she's a couple years younger. Despite the fact that, like, John Candy is 39 while filming this movie, but he does look older than that. I was like, but how old was he? He was like, younger than that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He died young.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly sad. But anyway, so he is going to show up because Shanice got him a job at her place where she sells tires.
That's right.
And he's like, if I could have an excuse in the world, I would have it, but I don't, so I'm going to show up tomorrow. Gets the call in the middle of the night.
Yep.
And he has to go take care of the kids.
And he's been known to slack off and not be a responsible person. So she's like, of course, you found another way to not be a responsible adult human being. Mm-hmm. And you've gotten out of actually having a real job. And he's stuck between a rock and a hard place where, like, he wants to be there and do the thing that his girlfriend wants him to do. But he also wants to be there for his family. And honestly, the family is the easy route out of not doing the annoying job that he really doesn't want to do.
Yeah, we like find out later in the movie that Shanice is like the two of them have been dating for like 8 years.
Yeah,
and Shanice is very aware that like Uncle Buck is very much a man child of like he likes the things that he likes, and it's very hard to get him to do the things that are responsible because it's
exactly.
He has to give up a little aspect of who he perceives as his sense of self, not how she words it. But whatever. And, like, fair, relatable. I get it. As a single dude, definitely get that. However...
Right.
But, like... So, Uncle Buck shows up and he has to start taking care of the kids. And, like, there are things that he doesn't do very well. He immediately breaks a fancy plate that people in the 80s and 90s always had on display but never used.
Right.
He doesn't know how often the dog gets fed, and he's never able to open the washing machine.
Correct.
But other than that,
it's not.
He's pretty much fantastic.
Yeah, he's very attentive to the kids. He doesn't forget to pick them up, or he's embarrassing when he picks them up because of his car is so aggressively loud and backfires every time he parks. But I mean, outside of that, yeah, he's
mostly embarrassing. Just the teenager, the little ones, Macaulay Culkin and little girl.
Yes. Maisie?
Yep. Yeah. Miles and Maisie. We've got Buck and Bug, Miles and Maisie.
Amazing names.
And, I mean, it sounds like hell for typing, but other than that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, he's mostly great. He does amazing, like, he makes them all fantastic breakfasts, except that he puts onion in the eggs.
Right.
And, like... The two, I think, most memorable, like, trailer scenes are these scenes with Macaulay Culkin where, like, Macaulay Culkin just asks him question after question after question.
I remember that trailer, too.
I strongly considered doing that for the intro, but that felt like I would have been putting too much onus on you, and I felt bad, and I was like, I'll come up with something else.
I love it.
And then the parents miss Miles's birthday.
Yes.
And so Uncle Buck makes him gigantic pancakes.
Yep.
And it's fucking awesome.
So endearing, like, yes.
But it's maybe a 30-second scene.
Yeah.
But that's it. But, like, that's the scene from the movie.
Yeah. That is kind of crazy.
And so, like, he brings the sense of, like, John Candy's sense of fun to just, like, being there and taking care of the little kids. And the little kids are kind of, like, there as endearing, lovely joke machines. Because really the movie's about the dynamic between Uncle Buck and Tia.
Right.
Which, how does that go?
Well, it doesn't go great. I mean, they are the perfect antagonistic characters for each other. And she does a great job at setting traps for him once she realizes how she can make his life fall apart, because she feels like he's making her life fall apart, which, again, her life is not really falling apart. But also, as a teenager, we know we are all extra dramatic in every little thing. Oh, this is the end of the world. This is the worst thing. You're the worst parent ever. Mm-hmm. So that's where her mindset is. So every little small thing is a disaster to her. So because of that, she tries to ruin his relationship with his girlfriend.
Yep.
And by being messy,
by
exaggerating the relationship that he has formed with the new neighbor.
She did get lucky in that she says the name of the one other adult woman in the movie.
Right.
Who is, in fact, the person who ends up showing up and happens to be there when Shanice shows up to, have a conversation with Buck. So, it was set up a little bit by Tia, but then, Shanice walks in on Uncle Buck dancing with the clearly horny neighbor.
Yeah.
Who... She's a whole separate movie on her own.
She is. I mean, also, it's played by Laurie Metcalf, and anything she does can be a whole separate thing of its own.
Correct.
She's great.
Yes. Every single performance in this movie is exceptional.
Yes.
Down to, the skis at the bowling alley.
Yes.
Who shows up, flipping a toothpick around in his mouth while hitting on the teenager. Yep. Who's like, yeah, you're probably in college, right? Yeah, even if that was true.
What would make it okay, sir?
Yeah. The thing that's never addressed, but I found really funny, is, at some point while he's flipping the toothpick around, he gets it stuck and then has to, go in and pull the toothpick out of his mouth. But he has, a scar bruise right on his lip that, where he flips the toothpick, that's basically where the scar is. And I'm 100% convinced he stabbed himself in the lip with his own toothpick.
That's hilarious. And honestly, a great opportunity for a joke. They should have just made that a thing.
I mean, again, he's flirting real aggressively with a teenager, so, I did not recast that man.
Same.
However, there's opportunities there to, really keep just hitting the skis even more.
Yes.
It's eventually, because Buck is helping the two smaller kids bowl, and they're having fun, and they're, bonding and whatever, and then he turns around and he sees the skis hitting on Tia, and he's like, well, gonna put a stop to that immediately.
Right.
But that's also where Tia learned the name of the girlfriend. Mm-hmm. So, when Shanice calls, she goes, oh, you're Shanice, you're the girlfriend.
Right.
I'm a fuck with you.
Yep.
But in the meantime, when Uncle Buck goes to pick Tia up from school, he sees Tia making out with her boyfriend, who Uncle Buck immediately clocks as just being, a skis and a lowlife.
Yeah. He's clearly only into her for physical reasons, and she's an object, and he can just tell from afar that he's not probably the most thoughtful teenager in the world.
Yeah. And... it turns out he's right.
Yeah.
But I'm so curious what would have happened if he was wrong. Because I think that would have been incredibly funny.
It would have been.
Because,
because he was basing it purely off optics of, very fast optics.
Yeah. And, he tells Tia, he's like, look, you're very pretty, and you absolutely have a chip on your shoulder. You're easy pickings.
Yeah.
And it turns out he's right. But, fundamentally, I think it would have been really funny if, he's doing all these super hyper-aggressive, macho, you better bring the daughter home at 9 p.m. kind of things. And if the dude had just been, a reasonable guy with a stupid name...
Right.
I just think it would have been even funnier. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Because, that works in the time period of the movie, because that's kind of, what we expect from comedies at the time. But now I kind of seeing, going,
going left.
Subversion is the word I was looking for, but I couldn't find. It's I don't know. But, what are the other aspects of this movie that, hit? Because it's a really simple movie.
Yeah, there's very little, there, so you can play with and move around, any of these pieces and any of the, like you said, it's just really small moments, just a bunch of very incremental small moments from, the pickup at the school to the bowling alley. It's all a series of small events that just add up to... the big sister's attitude against him and vice versa. Yeah.
Which ends up coming to a head at a party. Apparently Tia lied and said she was going to something, I don't remember what. Yeah. And instead she was going to a party and specifically said she wouldn't be home until Monday, implying that she was going to be there and spending the night for a couple of days. Yeah. And that's the same day as the tip that Buck got to go to the horse races because it was a surefire win. It would cover his bills for a year. Yep. But that's when he ends up calling Shanice and saying, look, I know you're mad at me. I know we're broken up, but I need your help to take care of the two little kids so I can go get the big kid. Which is great, and it's a very sweet moment. And he ends up going and breaking into this party to go rescue Tia.
Mm-hmm. And as he does, he enters the room where he thinks he's found the asshole boyfriend, and he does find the boyfriend, but the girlfriend is not his niece.
Yeah. And to be fair, as we're leading up to it, it is very much, it's the two of them, it's Bug
and
like aggressively making out with Tia, and she's saying, no, I don't want to do, or
yeah,
whoever is there is saying, no, this is going too fast, too far, I don't want to do this, no.
Mm-hmm.
And then Buck like drills down the door, and it turns out it's someone different.
Right.
So I don't know. It turns out Buck was right the whole time, and like I think he has this moment of like, oh well, that's not my problem, but he still kind of like sees the face of the girl, and he's like, nope, I still got to get this guy.
Yeah. And
he does.
Which was a great moment.
It is. Here's my question. To get to that room, he had to walk through one of the most crowded parties we've ever seen.
Yes.
He then afterwards goes and finds Tia. He tracks her down on the street. They drive for a little bit, and she's like, oh, what'd you do to Bug? And he's like, oh, you're going to love this. And
right.
Bug's in the trunk.
Right.
Again, this was one of the most crowded parties we've ever seen.
How did he get Bug?
Bug out of there?
In the trunk. Yeah. Especially like a cool asshole guy like that, you'd assume back then he'd have like an asshole group of friends who probably would have protected him, seeing him get dragged out by this guy.
Yeah, I mean, again, Uncle Buck is a very large man. John Candy's a large man. He was holding a power drill. So if he has like a dude thrown over his shoulder while holding a power drill...
maybe you just back up.
People will move.
Yeah.
Especially if like we find out that... like, so I'm trying to think of like other different movies that I've done. But like, especially if Bug is like a 20-year-old hitting on the 14-year-old or 15-year-old. Right. Or like... he's at the, like, party with all the teenagers, but he's not a teenager. He doesn't have any friends. And everyone's just like, yeah, that creepy guy.
Right.
Occasionally someone hooks up with him, and that's why he keeps coming back.
Right.
Someone gave the mouse a cookie.
Right.
Well, now we're stuck with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. But so, like, I'm just trying to think of, like, aspects of the movie as it exists that we need to talk about before we just start talking about what we want to do with it.
Okay.
And I don't know.
Honestly, the main course of this movie is... the scene where he's trying to do the laundry.
Kinda.
It's all I can think about.
I mean, look, the family's doing well. They have in-unit laundry. That's incredible. I mean, they have a house.
They have a very nice house. Very, very large, nice house. Also, just because it's John Hughes, I assume it's Chicago, just because he likes to do things in Chicago. But again, they didn't really specify.
You know what might happen is at some point, when they're bowling and Uncle Buck runs into one of his friends, he says, oh, I'm out in the burbs. Like, they literally might be Indianapolis, and then they just might be the suburbs of Indianapolis.
Right.
So they didn't even go that far.
Right.
Because, like, both their families live in the city, but they made enough money, or they have an opportunity to make more money if they go to the suburbs.
Right.
And the daughter can't drive yet, but then, like, if that was the case, then the parents wouldn't need to leave for a week.
Yeah.
Because also, they're only gone for 1 week, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, at the end of it, it's like, when they go bowling, it's like, oh, on Friday.
Right. It's been the same, yeah.
Because it feels like it's a long period of time.
But, it hasn't been longer than a week.
Like, even at the beginning of the movie, when the parents are leaving, and they go, oh, Miles' birthday, no, we won't be there that long.
Right.
And if it's, like, 2 days from now, like, it feels like they're gone a long time.
Yes.
And turns out it's a week. But, like, so ignoring all of that, we're doing our version of Uncle Buck.
Yes.
Presumably we're setting it now, right?
I would definitely set it now.
How would you describe your iteration of the Buck character? Because I obviously think we need to start there.
I think he was already, like, a pretty perfect character. I mean, we always loved the man-child, like, trying to find himself and become an adult type of figure or whatever. And I think John Candy played it so well with, like, the comedic physical beats, obviously, but also, like, the more, like, heartfelt, endearing moments with the children. He was just very good at that. So I would not change a lot about the role besides
I wouldn't change a lot about his, like, character interactions, but I might change things about, like, what he does. Because it sounds like Uncle Buck in the movie as it exists makes his money from, like, horse racing. Yes,
I would definitely alter that. There's also, when we do these things again, because they didn't give us a lot of background, we know he made some money off of that, but, like, is he legit paying rent by just betting? Like, he hasn't had a stable job, obviously, according to his girlfriend. So, like, I feel like he does probably need some crappy job that he also hates and probably doesn't do.
Yeah, they only allude to it a little bit, but they definitely talk about how like he's cheating at horse racing, and the dude who's coming in who's gonna help them has a fix for them and owes them.
Yeah.
So like apparently Uncle Buck and this other guy did something for this guy who's like fixing horse races.
Right.
So it sounds like Uncle Buck might be a little bit mobbed up.
Right. We might want to untie that.
Maybe. Or
unless we would drag it into the plot.
Unless we really want some just real prison spaghetti where they're chopping the garlic with razor blades and that's what he's feeding the kids.
Right.
Like, I feel like you could do that a little bit of Uncle Buck has a hard time holding down a job because he spent a year or two in jail. But in doing that, he gained the skills to be able to get by when he was out again.
Okay.
And so, like, it's always toying with the idea of, like, if he is a little bit mobbed up, then, like, obviously his girlfriend doesn't like that. She wants him to get a real job, and she found one for him. The mom doesn't want him coming over, but they're out of options because they don't, like, what's going to happen? Do they, like, Uncle Mob guy? What are they going to do? And I feel like you certainly don't need that to be, like, explicitly said.
Right.
But if a man is in his 40s and doesn't have a job, but is, like, surviving.
Well, now you just gave me a completely opposite idea.
Okay.
What if he's won the lottery like 20 years ago? So he's been living off of that, but like the funds are basically running out. Mm-hmm. And maybe some of the ways he keeps up the funds is his gambling habits. So we can still put that in there.
Yeah.
And maybe that's how he lost a lot of it. But as an adult, his partner would still want him to grow up, get a job. She's like, this money is running out. You can't do this, which is basically nothing forever. Mm-hmm. Like, so he's been getting by on charm and this old money that he won a long time ago.
Sure.
And yeah.
That also can very much be like why the family hasn't heard from him. He was like, oh, he won the lottery. He went off to do his own thing.
Yeah, he's just one of those guys who, like, he's part of the family, but, like, you never know where he is or who he's dealing with.
Or, like, very much so, like, that's the one all the stories are heard of.
Yeah.
Like everyone in the family has their Uncle Buck story.
Right.
To the point where, like when he shows up at the house and Maisie goes, wait, Uncle Buck is real?
Right.
I thought those were just stories.
Right.
That's funny. I like that. And then, like, you could even be doing those things throughout the movie of, like, telling the Uncle Buck story, and, like, some of them are real, some of them aren't.
Yeah, like, you never know. Like,
and you get, like, the real side of it, because, like...
Oh, he does have a picture on a yacht with Madonna. That's crazy.
Yeah. 100%. Exactly that. And, like, you could absolutely do that of, like, that's why, like, Bug goes, oh, I looked this guy up. He does do all these crazy things. Like, no. It's just the stories. It's just Chuck Norris stories.
Right.
None of them are real.
Right.
But then, like, he shows up places with the drill and, like, you don't know.
And I like that that's maybe why he's not reliable. He's always said these outlandish reasons for, like, why he can't come to Christmas or why he can't do these things. And, like, they think he's just giving some BS answer. But some of these times, he really is in Paris with Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely. Well, you also can do the thing of, like, he's also, if he won the lottery when he was 23, he'd also be incredibly superstitious.
Yeah.
And, like, even more so, that's going to be so funny around kids who do not care at all.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love that.
It's really crazy, too, because kids don't care, like, as little kids. We were all about, like, not stepping on the crack, breaking your mouth. Like, all of these little things, don't split the pole. Like, there's so many things where, like, he could be just, like, overly insane about, and, like, the kids.
Or, like, he tells the kids about, like, one of the, like, crazy things that has in his head, and he breaks one of the kids, and they're like, no, I'm gonna break Mom. And he's like, no. It's not. Yeah. It's just I don't, no.
Like, they drop a dish, and they think they're gonna get 7 years of bad luck or something crazy.
No, exactly that. Yeah. Oh, perfect. I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's extremely funny. And then what do we want to, like, and I feel like that's another reason why they can call Buck, because they know no matter where he is, he can show up.
He can get there. Yeah. Because,
like, you don't need to go to the airport in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Like, unless the grandfather is lying on the ground.
Yeah.
And at that point, call an ambulance.
Right.
Like, you'll get there when you get there.
Right.
It sounds like she doesn't have any other siblings.
Yeah.
But, like... I understand needing to... Well, no. I understand you need to get on the first plane out of there. Something going on. But... but we gotta get, like... Oh, wait. Oh, you moved to Indianapolis. I'm in Indianapolis. This is great. You jump on the closest airplane. I'm already there.
Right. He's there for a horse race or some crazy event. Yeah. Like the Indianapolis 500
Absolutely.
or something. Like.
Perfect. Which... is cars.
Yep.
Great. So it's a horsepower race.
Yes. Perfect modern update.
Great. And like, so that's why he's in town. And also he can still show up in the rust bucket car because it is the first thing he bought when he won the lottery.
Yeah.
So it's his lucky car.
I like it.
So he's just been like fixing it up as best he can.
Yep.
And it's just like, no, it's great. It's my lucky car. It's
Right.
like, this thing's falling apart.
Right.
I loved on the front of John Candy's car, there were abandonment notices on the car.
Oh, yes.
That he just hadn't bothered to take off. It's
Yep.
like clearly like junk vehicle, abandoned
Yep.
vehicle. Amazing.
So good.
Good. Okay. So that gives us the reason of who he is, why he's there. Where did the family move from and where do they move to? Because it needs to be far enough away.
Yeah.
They left Indianapolis. Well, no. So let's say we're in Indianapolis now. So we went the reverse. Because if he's in town for the race,
Right.
they need to be in Indianapolis.
Right.
Which means they could be coming from anywhere.
Right. So, I mean, so to make it far, because otherwise, logistically, I don't know why she can't go see her friends. I'm going to say she's from, like, Georgia.
Yeah.
Like, she's from...
I was going to suggest potentially from New York.
Oh, okay.
Because let's say she's 16, and that's why she doesn't have a driver's license yet.
Right.
So it's like, why would I need to drive a car? I'm supposed to be living in New York.
And now she's maybe even then one of the things that he could do is like help teach her drive because she's very much against driving because you don't need to drive there. But now like she needs to do it. So maybe that could be a thing that he...
You can even have her go spouting all the things that are true about how we shouldn't build cities based around cars. I say city in Los Angeles, which is true.
Yeah.
But sometimes when it's coming out of the mouth of a teenager, it's really obnoxious.
Yeah.
So, but like that sort of idea, and she's like, "No, it's wrong. We don't need to do all that."
Right.
And she is right. She doesn't have to say it like
Yes. It's the arrogance.
that. Yeah. So like coming from New York, moving to Indianapolis, going
that.
from a town where everything's close
It's
together.
also like
public
such a big
transportation.
city, big mind kid. Like like she's in this small town. Like
Yeah, but that way we also get to play around with we miss certain things from New York.
Right.
And rich Uncle Buck can get them, but he also can kind of like teach them to like get familiar with the area.
Right.
Like, I was going to suggest something as an alternative to the giant pancakes, but we need the giant pancakes.
Yeah.
You can't not have the giant pancakes.
It's such a good scene. Yeah.
And then the birthday party with like the weird drunk clown.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what ends up happening. So like basically it's the giant pancakes. It's awesome. It's breakfast for the kids, but I also think that'd be really fun to have at like a birthday party.
Yeah.
Which ends up happening later, and like they call the clown, a drunk guy shows up who is the clown, and then Buck punches him out. Mm-hmm. But then a birthday party still has to happen.
Yeah.
So I would like to see what Uncle Buck does for the birthday party now that they don't have their fantastic entertainment anymore.
Right.
And obviously I don't think it should be a clown. I think it should be a superhero costume person.
Yeah.
Like, if we can get someone dressed up as Superman or the Hulk to show up and vomit in the bushes, I think that'd be very funny. I don't think we'd get permission to do that. So it's like, yeah, I'm Hero Man.
Right. But the Hulk would be hilarious.
So let's come up with what they would do for the birthday. Like, what's this guy who has money but doesn't have money, like, going to kind of do to, like, salvage a birthday party?
I mean, nowadays kids love like those video game party buses things where like you get, so like maybe he makes like a makeshift version of one of those.
Yeah, that's really funny. Okay, so they rig up and oh man, what would be,
so like he could like just take like a TV from something and like stick it on the side of a truck or on the back of a pickup truck or something.
Yeah. It's what he ends up doing is he like those the roller cart TVs from like that they bring around and like when the teacher's hungover.
Yeah.
he puts two of them together and like makes them chairs so that the kids can like roll around and like play video games in the opposite TVs.
Exactly.
And then of course one of them rolls away down the hill and onto the road and he's like, wait, no, and it's just like chasing after that, and that's how the party ends.
I love it.
Great, that's good.
Love it.
Good. I like that a lot. Okay, and then we also have this interplay between Buck and Tia.
Yes.
We have that, and then we have like dealing with the little girl, which that was a crazy non sequitur scene. But we have this dynamic of the girl who didn't want to move to town, and she's also dating this scumbag guy. I kind of want to redeem scumbag guy a little bit because it always annoys me when there's a trope in these sorts of things of like, oh, the girl I'm in love with is dating this other guy and he seems great, so of course she's going to be happy forever. Oh, that guy was cheating on her, so now she's free to be with me. End of movie.
Right.
That always annoys me. And like in movies like this, because it's been done so many times where it's like, oh, the teenager she's dating is in fact a scumbag and all.
Right.
And like he's not going to take no for an answer and like, oh, okay, so he was right the whole time to be obnoxious.
Right.
I think there is going to be a series of things that Buck is right about because he has all the stories, he knows all the different things.
Yeah.
I think it's more fun and interesting if this is something he's wrong about. And the one that the moment that made me start thinking that is in the movie Buck shows up to like a weird cabin in the woods where they're like make-out cabin or something.
Yeah.
What is that?
I have no idea.
And he's like, hey, the kids and I were just going to go get some ice cream in the middle of winter. Would you like to get some ice cream with us? Please.
Yeah.
Forcefully. And he invites, and then he has like a whole conversation about axes and hatchets with Bug.
Yeah.
And then he invites them to go get ice cream and Bug says no. But I'm so curious what would have happened if he'd said yes.
That would be fun.
Because like you could also have this really sweet moment of like, yeah, I mean like, I like you a lot, so obviously I'd like to get to know your family. And if this means we get to keep hanging out.
Right. And he probably wouldn't even know how to interact with them if he did actually engage.
Yeah. But like the dynamic and what's going to break the relationship is that she keeps being embarrassed about her family, despite the fact that both people are trying to come in with as good of intentions as possible.
Yeah.
Just potentially poorly presented.
Right. It would be funny if the kid, like, if Buck think he's a jerk because like maybe he wouldn't shake his hand or didn't want to deal with him, but like it was all
or
coming
made fun
from
of the car.
Right. But like maybe it was all coming from his niece and like it wasn't even really him. Or like he went to shake his hand and like he wouldn't do it, but turns out like he's a germaphobe. And like like there's a logical reason for like
just
every
making
little
this dude the biggest nerd ever.
Yeah, like but he thinks he's like such an asshole, but in reality he's like an germaphobe who's on the spectrum and like all this. So there's like a real specific reason for why he does all the things he does.
Love it. That's
but
so
on the
funny.
surface, he just, if you don't know what you know, like then he just seems rude.
Yeah, I mean that works for me. Great. I think that's really funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then so like, what else do you think we need for like that dynamic?
I mean, I wonder if almost we age her up a little bit. So in a way, she kind of is a mirror to him. Like she is maybe out of high school and also kind of like floundering a little bit. So like maybe
if she's out of high school, why would she still be living at home?
Because she's floundering. So like she doesn't really have anything figured out. Maybe she just had to move back, or maybe she's dropped out.
That would be interesting.
Which would also give her a reason to maybe be a little upset in life.
I don't know if I would then make it necessary for Buck to be the one going and picking her up from different things. Like when he's picking her up from school, that makes sense. But like if she's an adult and like let's say she's 18, 19, 21 years old or something, even if he's like picking her up from a job, why? She's 21.
Yeah.
And like unless that's just the
that's
the dynamic the parents are doing.
But okay, let's go all the way back. What if in the version where again, because there's no real reason why the families had to separate. So what if in this version they actually have to go to where Buck is? So like she doesn't have a vehicle.
Let's do this. Let's take your idea because I like to do that.
Yeah.
Here's my pitch for how we deal with that.
Okay.
I think Tia is going to be the daughter from the first marriage, from the father's first marriage.
Okay.
And then because she is quite a bit older than Myles and Maisie.
Right.
And because I spent so fucking long looking for actual little children, like
they don't exist.
They're not real. You can't Google them.
Like,
and if you do, you're a monster.
Yeah, but like my search history is done now, and I didn't even get my results. Oh, good for you.
I did the most colorblind casting I think I've ever done. But anyway, so here, like, if she is the daughter from the first marriage and she's had to move back home to the new marriage, to the point where now, like, she can even go, that's not even my grandfather who's sick. Why am I suffering because of this?
Right.
Like, you have that extra thing. Like, for my Tia, I cast an actual 16-year-old, but, like, we don't have to go with her.
Okay.
But, like, that whole idea of I'm stuck back in a family that I'm never a part of. Like, I left
Right.
because it's not my family and this is the new family.
Right.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
And like, all the Uncle Buck stories are from, like, the first... Again, you just hear the different things, and, like, she's been telling the stories, like, oh, Uncle Buck is real. And that way, there's a lot more... Like, she really blames the mom as the reason that they moved. Mm-hmm. Despite the fact that I think the dad was the reason they moved. So she really... It's just, like, pitting women against each other, which, boo. But, like, if she just dislikes the mom because it's like, it's a stepmom thing.
Right.
And dad's just trying to be like, look, I can't force you to like her. But, like, come on, man.
Yeah.
So I think we can do that idea if we add that extra element of just that ultimate resentment of, I was living in New York, but I was living with you.
Right.
And now because you move and I have nowhere else to go, I can't afford to live somewhere on my own. So now I'm also forced, an adult person, to come be here in Indianapolis.
Yeah, that would suck.
Who moves to Indianapolis?
Yeah, that would piss me off.
like that. Okay, so that I think we can do your idea.
Perfect.
What other aspects of this movie? Because, like, I don't know if your notes are all casting things. Are there any other, like, notes? Okay, so, like, you didn't have, like, plot things that you wanted to, like...
Outside of, like, pivoting on how we got into it, but I love where we are now. Yes.
Okay. Then I feel like there's two characters we need to kind of talk about. Maisie and the weird neighbor.
Yes.
Weird neighbor will be fun. Maisie... So there's this moment when Uncle Buck goes into a parent-teacher conference. A parent-teacher conference.
That sounds more like a thing.
And it's, like, the most hard-ass Christian school I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that. That's so messed up. The weird vice principal is, like, children aren't allowed to be fun. They have to be little mini adults.
Yeah.
And then Maisie quotes Uncle Buck and says, goddamn laundry or something. And the teacher goes, blasphemer!
Yeah.
And I'm just like... Frankly, I feel like this little girl is a miracle that she has any joy left in her.
That's what I was thinking, too. Like, it seemed like this would totally destroy all, like, childlike joy.
Yeah. In which case, do we want to then have Uncle Buck unenroll her from that school and enroll her in a different school?
That would be great.
Like, without the parents' permission.
Because, I think he does need to do bigger, messier things. Because, like you said, in the original, everything he did was kind of subtle. Yeah. So he should, like, really mess up their lives if, like, that's the guy they think that he is. Yeah.
And if he does big, messy things like that, sometimes it will work. Like, I think the moving Maisie to a different school is good and appropriate.
Yeah, like, they'll hate it, but then they'll realize it actually is for the best.
But then the big, messy thing he does with Tia and Bug is wrong and bad. And he's like... Right. You can't bat 1,000.
You can't get them all. Yeah.
You can't bowl 300 every time.
Right.
And, like, I feel like it can start with taking them all to the bowling alley. And it's like, yeah, there's cool people here. No, there's not. Time to go.
Yep.
Stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, the weird neighbor. I feel like I don't want to change her at all.
She's perfect.
She's kind of perfect.
Like, just a weird, horny neighbor.
Weird, horny neighbor that just talks very, formally.
Yeah.
Of course I was married, but I enjoyed the rhythm of the last name, and so I have stuck with it.
Yes.
Tell me, are you interested in a luncheon today?
So good. Just so good.
And, like, I can understand why the mother would say that she doesn't want that woman taking care of her kids at all.
Right.
Which, fair.
Right.
I would also not trust that human being around children at all. Okay. Do we need any other set pieces? Are there things that we're missing? We talked about the birthday party. We talked about the pancakes. We talked about... do
we want to keep the bowling alley?
Yeah. Bowling alley's fun. It's very... hey, yeah, you got your bowling alley friends.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I guess. Or not. Or it's like... it's some... Like, what's something that grounds Buck? Like, what is something that he does in every single town, every single place that he goes to? Like, he has his car, his lucky car that he brings everywhere. It could be bowling.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It also could be, like, every town I get to, I buy a scratch-off, and that's how I know how well I know I'm going to be doing in this town.
Right.
Because, like, that's the thing about people who win big at gambling.
You never stop.
That incentivizes them to keep going.
Yeah, like, why would I stop? It's worked for me.
I'm trying to think of other set pieces and stuff, because basically this movie is a series of vignettes.
If only there was... Do they have legal gambling in Indianapolis? I don't know. I know some...
They have sports betting everywhere now.
Okay.
So what we could do is we could have Uncle Buck being... So Uncle Buck's big arc between him and the girlfriend is Uncle Buck is going to put the last of his money into a new sports betting app. And she's saying, no, don't do that. We can take that last money and you and I can get married and build a home and a life together.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, but if this...
Or I could triple it, right?
Or when this app goes,
right.
think of how much better our life will be then. We just need to wait off...
the biggest wedding ever. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
We should hold off on getting married until we know how much money we've made, and then we can plan the wedding. We'll worry about it then, after I'm successful again and reclaimed my millions.
Right.
Okay, that way, yes. And then that's the conversation, and that's the tension between him and Shanice.
Yes.
And yeah, and like the only thing that I feel like we have left to really talk about is kind of like the big party at the end when Buck shows up to like rescue Tia and then the other girl.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think we're making Bug a little bit differently and not. I think Tia needs to break up with Bug, and I feel like there's this big party happening, and then Buck goes through the whole party, doesn't find either of them, and then just hears sobbing on the back porch. And he goes out onto the back porch and he finds Bug crying because Tia broke up with him.
I like that.
Because like all of this like back and forth and dynamic has like convinced Tia that she's never going to be happy in a small town like this.
Yeah.
And anything in the small town is bad. She's going to find a way to get back to New York.
Right.
So she's breaking up with the small town boy.
I like that.
She's reverse hallmarking him.
No, that's funny.
And so then Buck has to sit there and like comfort this dude, and he doesn't know how to do that.
Yes.
And then he can go and track down Tia and like have their heart to heart, and whether or not she gets back together with Bug is irrelevant to me.
Yeah, same.
Great, they can be broken up, it's fine.
Yeah.
But like, because like, let's say she wants to go back to New York, and she will be happy there, and that way she figures out a job, and like he uses some of his money instead of the gambling app to like help her get a down payment on an apartment so that she can go and do New York stuff.
Right.
I think that's reasonable, and that's a way to change the party around.
I love that.
What are we missing?
I think that's pretty much it.
Then let's do casting.
Let's go into it.
Let's talk about Uncle Buck.
All right.
Who did you have for your titular big John Hughes lead?
All right, so I'll tell you who I was about to choose, and then I'll tell you who I chose.
Oh, I bet I have written down the person who you almost chose, because it's the obvious choice.
The obvious choice if you're going to remake a thing like this. And the physical comedy of John Hughes, you want somebody who can do that. And there's not a lot of people who can do the comedy like John Candy does. So initially, I was going to flip the whole thing, and I was going to go with Melissa McCarthy.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Who are you about to say?
Well,
or did you think I was going to say?
Well, I didn't think you gender swapped it. And I was like, well, obviously, like, the obvious choice for this, and the one I, like, spent a bunch of time searching for, I was like, no, I kind of got to go with the obvious choice, is Paul Walter Hauser.
Of course. Yes. Yes. If you're going to do a modern, yes. But then that was before. I would have went there had I not. I didn't do the gender swap, but then I still swapped some things, and I went with Marlon Wayans.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Great. Great. Tell me why.
Well, because, again, I was thinking who can do this physical humor, and Marlon Wayans is so good at physical comedy. Yeah. But also just, like, he can do all the things, comedy, drama, like he does heartfelt, endearing moments very well. He's done that on various of his sitcoms. Like, I think, like, he would just bring, like, a really fun, modern element to this character, so...
You also can very much play around with, if you're going to be casting Marlon Wayans, some of the, like, crazy stories about Uncle Buck can literally be saying, man, he pretended to be a white lady for, like, for some FBI sting.
Right.
And just,
I love meta humor.
Do that.
So, like, that would be so
That
hysterical.
would be really funny.
That would be hysterical.
I think that'd be great. I'm fully on board with that.
Excellent.
Because I had Paul Walter Hauser. I was like, that's the obvious choice. If we
yes,
both bring it, fine.
yes.
But otherwise, I'm perfectly willing to cede ground and be like, great,
Yes.
someone else. Fantastic. So then, next up, just moving down, like, the other most important character is Tia. I cast a teenager, so let me tell you about her first, because we'll probably go with yours.
I don't know if you got a real teenager. I might go with yours. We'll see.
I mean, we'll figure out what we want to do. I cast one of the kids from Skeleton Crew. Mm-hmm. So she's like 16, 17 now.
Nice.
Because the two girls... One of those girls is going to be the new Buffy.
Oh.
And the other one was the one in, like, the goggles.
Yes.
That's the one I cast because, like, if there's going to be a character who can kind of give you the dead face, like, I need to tell you why you're stupid.
Yes.
It's the one who played that when she was, like, a child.
Right.
So this actress's name is Kiriana Crater.
Okay.
She was in Bunked, but, like, I know her from Skeleton Crew.
Nice.
And, like, the episode where her optics and everything are breaking and they basically have to, like, repair the machinery in her head.
Yeah.
Is, like, finding a moment of, like, the very stoic character, finding a way to, like, display emotions, I thought was very sweet. And I think that's the sort of thing that you could kind of apply to this role.
I like that. Perfect. I love that. So, and because, again, as you mentioned, finding child actors, it's quite the task.
Yeah.
And particularly when you switch it and now they're black kids and you have to find people of color, it becomes insanely difficult.
You can only scroll through the cast list for Abbott Elementary so many times.
So many times. And it's like, guys, like, it's so funny because, like, I, like, cast a lot of, like, things that, like, I write and while I'm writing them, like, so I've done this so many times. And,
Yeah,
like,
anytime you put together a deck.
It's always almost the same people they're just, like, every 5 years it changes, but for the most part, like, it stays the same.
It's so hard to Google because I have to do this, obviously, all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, child actors 10 and under.
Right.
Hey, cool, here's a list from 5 years ago.
Literally.
This is useless to me.
You never actually see the age that you're looking for in the current moment. Like, if you search for, like, teenagers right now, you'll still find Tyler James Williams from when he was a teenager from Everybody Hates Chris. It's like, bro, he's a grown man now.
Look, I understand that Room was a good movie.
Right.
But that's an adult now.
Right.
Like, we can't just keep pulling up the Stranger Things kids.
Yes. It's extremely frustrating. So, because of that, and I was going to just age her up, but she could still play a teenager, and she does deadpan so freaking well. And also she does the humor of the person who I had writing the movie well. So I went with Myles Warden.
Oh, okay. So Myles Warden is 20.
Yeah, so I think she could totally play...
She totally could do this.
Yes.
I'm happy to go with her.
Awesome.
So my next two, my two children are a South Asian young man and a white little girl. So who knows what's going on with this family, but whatever. It. My Myles is it's a little boy, like he's very young, like I think in his IMDb he plays 7 to 9. And I'm like, great.
Yeah.
His name is Ryan Kamal Khan, and I'll be honest, I've seen Skeleton Crew, don't remember him. I assume he was very small. But like he looks like a kid.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It could work.
Yeah.
You just need a really cute kid.
Yeah. So like I had that for the little boy, and then for the little girl, Penelope Young, who was like the baby maybe, and like George and Tammy, and she's like in them. I might even have her age wrong because like I don't know how to.
Yeah,
she's so like how do you find a 5-year-old?
They just got to be new, man. Like
the picture of her on IMDb Pro is her at 5,
right? And
so I think that is her age.
Okay,
but it doesn't tell me, so I don't know. But she was also in something from 2021, which means that unless she was a baby...
Right.
I don't know. I don't know how old this kid is. Like, she was in Them last year.
Okay.
I don't know. I was just trying to find a 5-year-old.
I mean, you did better than I did, because I could not find one. Like, they were just so impossible. So, so I don't think she's 5. Well, I did find 5-year-old, but I couldn't find actually a Myles. But for Maisie, I had I don't even know her actual name, but her name online is Van Van, and she's the cutest, most adorable kid. Speaking of Abbott Elementary, they did put her in an episode of Abbott Elementary, but it's because she already has like a following on Instagram and online.
She's how young and has a following? Don't answer that. I don't want to.
Yeah, I shouldn't know her. If I was able to tell you her name off the top of my head, I would be afraid of myself. So I can't.
Meet Van Van, the sensational 6-year-old rapper hailing from North Carolina.
So boom, but like she's so adorable and hilarious. So I think she would totally nail it.
Fantastic. That's amazing. So we'll go. I just crossed out the wrong name. Oh. We'll go with Ryan Kamal Khan for Myles, and then Van Van for Maisie.
Perfect.
That brings us to the parents, Cindy and Bob. Did you bother casting these roles?
I did.
I cast a couple of boring white people, which might work for Cindy, but I don't think that's going to work for Bob.
Well, the thing is, these roles, like, in this version, we'd have to make them more, because they're not a lot. Like, I mean, they have...
Well, I think we're going to be doing that anyway if we're going to be FaceTiming and, like, having the more technology of, like, dealing with the kids. Like, I think that's going to be happening anyway.
For sure.
Like, the mom is certainly in the movie enough for us to realize that this is a harried... This poor lady.
Yeah.
She's trying so hard, and she's just trying to have to do her best.
And she's just frustrated. And I think Taraji P. Henson plays frustrated very well.
She does.
I went with Taraji P. Henson.
Yeah, of course. She comes up on the podcast all the time.
I'm sure she does.
For good reason.
Yes, because there's not a lot she can't do. But I thought she would be great in this role.
Yeah, okay. That's fun. How old is Taraji P. Henson?
Oh, wow, 54.
Yeah,
Black don't crack. Who knows?
Looks great for 54.
How old these people are, yes.
But, like, that kind of fits the idea of a second marriage. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like,
yeah, that's great.
That works. Yeah, that'd be fun. My Cindy is it's Allison Williams. She's the white lady in Get Out. She was also in Girls.
Yes.
She's the mom or whatever, or the programmer or something in Megan.
Yes.
And a very stressed out lady.
Yes.
She is.
I could totally see that.
And then for my Bob, the dad, I wanted kind of like it'll be what it'll be. Like
Yeah.
So, like, this is a guy I haven't seen in that much. I have not seen in that much. Like, he has a movie that he, like, wrote and starred in that just came out. It's just on Peacock. I haven't even seen it yet. But it's The Ballad of Wallace Island.
Oh, I've seen the trailer. Or
Yeah,
the preview,
he's the recluse kind of living on the island. I keep meaning to watch it. I first saw him on Taskmaster. He's a British guy. He's a British comedian and poet.
Okay.
And that feels like the kind of, like, aloof, not really connected with what's going on with his family kind of dad.
Right.
And I was like, yeah. I don't know.
It could work.
Like, yeah, but who did you have for the dad?
I had Anthony Anderson, who I also just looked up and just happens to be 54 as well.
Is
so
he
if we
really?
did go with Taraji,
That's
that
funny.
Makes sense. I also would not pick him to be 54, but
No. I mean,
I did like the idea of, like, mixing up the casting more. So I don't know how we could mix and match.
My
this.
whole, like, cast was a little bit. It's fine. Like, I think Anthony Anderson and Taraji P. Henson works because I'm trying to think of the only one I would potentially do, like, Anthony Anderson and Allison Williams.
Yeah.
Because especially, like, the mom and daughter not connecting even more in that case.
Right. And if this, like, yeah, he maybe married younger too, which also pisses her off.
Yeah. Although I don't know how old Allison Williams is. Let's find out. I do think she's younger. She's got to be, I would assume,
She's
late
be,
30s.
Yeah.
If she was in Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, she and I are born in the same year, so she's 37.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's do that. Let's do Anthony Anderson and Allison Williams.
That's fun.
So then that brings me to Shanice. Poor Shanice.
Yes.
For this particular character, I needed someone who was funny, but also very, very dry. And I went to a very particular stand-up who is an extremely dry comedian, but also kind of delivers the, well, I guess this is what we're doing style of comedy. She was in Search Party, and she was in Mythic Quest.
Okay.
Her name is Aparna Nansharla.
Oh, yes, I love her.
Yeah. So I thought she would be kind of fun for this role. How old is Marlon Wayans?
Makes me feel so
52.
Yeah, 52, yeah.
When I did Paul Walter Hauser, he's 38.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went with Aparna Nansharla because she's 42.
Right.
And it's like, she's a couple years older, she's a little bit more together.
Right.
And, like, even still, I think it could still work with Aparna being like, you're 10 years older than I am. Yeah. I can't be more together than you are.
Right.
It's weird.
Right.
And especially if they've been together for 8 years. Like, they've been dating since, like, he was 40 and she was 32 kind of thing.
I like that, yeah.
Not to a point where it was weird, but when it was, like, getting to a point where it's like,
Especially because like women mature faster than men, so like, but then at a certain point you thought that it would catch up, but it never caught up.
Yeah, I keep being surprised when I hear about the trope of like, ooh, an older guy, and that's never made sense to me. But you know what? It's still real and exists, and I'm here to honor that.
Right.
So that's who I had. Who did you have for Shanice?
I had Regina Hall.
Okay.
Who also I just looked up happens to be the magic age of 54.
Okay.
It's insane that this is a thing.
Stop doing that. Stop being magic. It's weird.
Yes.
I mean, she's also so funny. What's the vibe you want to go for Shanice? Like, do you want to go with Regina Hall's vibe or do you want to go with Aparna's vibe?
I'm down for either. You can't lose here.
Yeah.
We'll
also get to play around
switch it up. Yeah.
We'll tell you what. Let's also cast Marcy at the same time. Who did you have for your Marcy? Marcy Dahlgren Frost.
So, I thought it would be hilarious if Marcy was Tracy Ellis Ross.
Why?
Well, I can't describe it, but she gives me modern, and like, even though we still have Laurie, but like modern Laurie Metcalf. Like, I think she can do like the zaniness that Laurie kind of has.
Oh, absolutely.
And she doesn't get to do it
any
enough.
Level of zany.
Exactly, and I think she doesn't get to like play in that field enough.
That's fair. That's true. That's very funny. I went with Jenny Slate.
Okay.
Like weird, crazy neighbor.
Yeah.
One of the last movies I watched that wasn't for this podcast was Marcel the Shell with Shoes On.
Yeah.
And I only recently learned that that's where Jenny Slate is from. Like 15 years ago when the Marcel shorts were on YouTube, that was Jenny Slate then. Like, she's not just doing the voice in the movie.
Right.
She's always been Marcel, which was wild to me. And then, like, you have her in Everything Everywhere All at Once, where she's, like, doing, like, nunchucks, but with the leash with her tiny dog at the end.
Yeah.
Jenny Slate is one of those comedic actresses who's just like, oh, that's what you need me to do? No problem. I'm going to do that 1,000%.
Yep.
And so I thought that'd be kind of funny of just, like, the weird neighbor showing up to just be wildly inappropriate.
Right.
Because that sometimes is her brand. It's like her or the girl from...
Not Broad City.
No. Yeah, Broad City. Yeah, Broad City. Broad City, that actress. Ilana Glazer.
Yes.
Like that kind of like style of...
Yeah, they're very much the same.
Just going balls to the wall like, you don't understand. I'm committing to this bit so hard that the bit's not even going to recognize it anymore.
Right.
But like, yes.
I do love that.
Those are...
I think optically wise, we kind of went the same direction. Optic wise, they
in terms of style, for sure.
Yeah.
So like, we have, leaving Ilana Glazer out of this, we have Aparna and Charlotte, Jenny Slate, Tracy Ellis Ross, and Regina Hall.
Yes.
So here are 4 actresses.
Okay.
Assign 2 as you see fit.
So I think I say Jenny for Shanice, maybe.
Oh, okay. As the girlfriend?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I love Marcy as Tracy, man.
Great. Done.
Yeah. She used to be like, Tracy did so many like smaller, zanier moments on like Girlfriends, and just like she just has an insane like repertoire that I feel like she doesn't get to stretch all the time, and I would just love to see her.
That's true. I agree.
That's
why
field.
I've cast her in comedic roles for the show for exactly that reason. Like, you have to.
Yeah, like she was the buttoned-up character to Anthony on Blackish, but I feel like left to her own devices, she'd be
let her get weird with
loosey-goosey weird. Yeah,
like any interview with her, it's just like, oh, is that what we're doing?
We're
gonna be weird about this.
She can commit. Like, speaking of commit to a bit, like she's great with sketch. Like she can commit to a bit and like just give it to her, and she'll just take it to a different place.
There needs to be more sketch stuff so that she can do it.
Truly,
like the fact that like sketch shows never do well sucks.
Right,
but also,
right,
yeah. So I cast Bug, and then I don't have any other like actor roles.
Okay.
Are there any other actor roles that you have that I'm missing?
Nope.
Okay. So then for Bug, I cast a younger guy because I was thinking like a 20-year-old dating a 16-year-old would kind of be like weird. I think this kid's about 20 years old, which now works for Marseille Martin.
Right.
I went with the kid from Umbrella Academy. Number 5.
Okay.
His name is Aidan Gallagher. He is from Umbrella Academy. He was in Nicky, Ricky, Dicky, and Dawn.
Yes.
And now he does like music or something.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, he never needs to work again, and he's 20 years old, so what else is he going to do? The kind of, like, dry wit weirdo kind of fit for like either version of the character we ended up with.
I love that, honestly, because he could totally be like an asshole or like super nice.
Yeah,
like,
who comes off as an asshole.
Right, exactly. I think that's perfect.
Who did you have?
I had Michael Cooper Jr., who is the lead in the new Netflix show Forever.
Okay.
And that was I think that's the only thing I've seen him in, at least. But he's amazing in that show. That show is a brilliant show, and he's just like, I think he also has like a certain weirdness to him, but he can also be very funny, and he's probably easily misunderstood. He's misunderstood a lot in the show.
Yeah.
So I think that could also play for the version of the character we have.
And he's 23. Like, that's not bad casting for this particular role.
Yeah. How old is Aiden, you said?
I'm going to double check. I thought he was 20, but I'm going to double check now. 22. 21 technically, because his birthday is September.
Oh, okay.
So roundabout.
Yeah.
For this one, I'm going to push us to Aiden Gallagher.
Yeah, I like that.
And then that brings us to writer and director.
Right.
You have separate, or do you have a hyphenate?
I have a hyphenate.
Okay, then let me tell you.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll tell you about my writer, then
Yes.
you'll tell me about your hyphenate, and then I'll tell you about my director.
Yes.
I went the most comedy of comedy for this writer. She's worked on Community, on Mythic Quest, on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, on Modern Family. The list goes on and on.
Okay.
I went with Megan Gans.
Ooh, all right. I like that.
Like, this movie is a joke machine, and because it's a new version, we need all new jokes.
Right.
And so I was like, well, we need a joke machine. Megan Gans, who I've heard nothing but pleasant things about.
Okay.
That's who I had for my writer. Who did you have for your hyphenate?
So for my writer, who I also just realized doesn't really direct, but it's fine. I think he could. I went with Kenya Barris, who I know can write for Marseille and Tracy. So I thought that would work well because he's done Blackish and all of the mixed-ish and shows in that universe. But I think he can also do like a dry comedy that he doesn't get to do a lot. And he did like Girls Trip, which gives me like some of the sillier, zanier vibes that the Uncle Buck character would give us. So I could totally see him like nailing a lot of that comedy as well. And he's good at like heartfelt things, but that are also just like laugh out loud funny. So
you also can like support it. Like, there's more arguments for Kenya Barris because he has written family dynamics before. Like in 2022, his version of Cheaper by the Dozen came out.
Yes, exactly. I think he's been leaning more towards that too now.
Like, if anything, this kind of fits with the sort of style. Like, even the fact that he produced Little, very much helps. And like, and he also can adapt a new version of something because he did the new version of Shaft.
Exactly. He, like you said, he's done the new version of Cheaper by the Dozen, new version of Shaft. So he
wrote Coming to America.
He brought back Coming to America. Yeah, exactly. So like he's good at reimagining things.
Fine.
Yes, it was. So yeah, he's very good at like reimagining things. So yeah, I think
I might have him be our writer.
Okay, that'd be perfect.
So I didn't realize this until like literally I just looked at the page now that both my writer and director are both women named Megan who spell it the exact same way.
That's hilarious.
I had Megan Gans for my writer. For my director, she's only directed 2 movies.
Okay.
The Fallout, and My Old Ass.
I love My Old Ass, so I'm 1,000% on board with that.
So her name is Megan Park.
That was such a good movie.
And I felt like that... It's a different tone, for sure.
Yeah.
But it is still an older wise ass interacting with a younger wise ass.
Yeah. I think it's perfect, honestly.
And because I feel like this movie really is a two-hander between your Uncle Buck and your Tia, I felt like having a female director, like a female either director or writer, kind of helps to like make sure like it's not a very male-centric
I agree.
movie. Because there were a couple of moments in the movie that I was like, maybe not. But like, overall, I thought the movie was pretty good. And it definitely did. And it skated the line of some of the John Hughes tropes that it could have fallen into. But I don't think it did.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
I love that.
We have our cast. Uncle Buck. Uncle Buck is going to be played by Marlon Wayans. Tia Russell will be Marseille Martin. Miles Russell will be Rayan Kamal Khan. Maisie Russell will be Van Van. Cindy Russell will be Allison Williams. Bob Russell will be Anthony Anderson. Shanice Kablowski will be Jenny Slate. Marcy Dahlgren Frost will be Tracy Ellis Ross, which that's a very fun sentence to say.
Yes.
Bug is going to be Aiden Gallagher. All of this will be written by Kenya Barris and then directed by Megan Park.
This is a movie I
is
would
Uncle
love.
Buck. Yeah, great. You gonna go see it?
Yes, I'm already getting my tickets. This is amazing.
All right, dope. That's kind of the end of the episode. We did it. We've remade Uncle Buck. Thank you, very much for making me rewatch this movie. It had been too long, and it was nice reminding myself why I love it so much.
Ditto.
But yeah, Myles, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Tell the audience where you can be followed on social media and anything else you want people to do or watch or whatever.
You can follow me on all the things BlueSky, that place we don't go to anymore, but sometimes we still wander over to. Instagram, all the things. I am at Really Mighty, at ReallyMighty.
Perfect. Anything you want people to watch to maybe get you a couple cents of residuals?
Again, please go watch Act Your Age on Netflix right now. It is hilarious. If you like Golden Girls, if you like laughs, if you like comedy with a little bit of political commentary or just a little bit of social commentary or just commentary on all the insane things that are happening in the world, this is a funny show. It'll also take your mind off of all the things that are happening in the world because it is so funny. You will forget the current moment you are in and just tune out and laugh at the zaniness and the hilarity that is Kim Whitley and Tisha Campbell and Yvette Nicole Brown. It's just an amazing fun show, so please go watch that so I can probably get like 3 pennies because Netflix doesn't pay great residuals, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. But like, and I didn't say this at the top, but like, you are a great person for people to be following anyway. Like, I remember when like the strike 2 years ago first happened, like there was a speech where you were like, I just made it into the WGA last week. Was it last week or last month?
Literally last week.
Here I am on strike.
Yeah.
And then you were an amazing captain at Radford, apparently running interference in ways I didn't even know.
Yeah, there was
doing a ton of work.
There was a lot happening. I'm currently, I'll launch it here because it just launched before I came, about to run for the board.
Oh,
so
that's exciting.
breaking
Congratulations.
News. Thank you. So
we would be lucky to have you.
I would really appreciate it. So yes, please follow me on all the things so you can stay up
to.
The election is a far away. I believe it's September. So we've got some time.
I was gonna say because this episode's gonna come out July 15th.
Yeah, so we've got
some
time
to vote.
Plenty of time to vote. But
I was like,
please,
wait, we're not gonna miss it. We're not gonna miss it.
Yeah,
okay,
no,
good.
we won't miss it. But just follow me on all the things so you can hear my stance on some of the issues. If you already follow me, you probably know a lot of my stances because I'm very loud and clear on who I am.
More events where they feed us.
Yes,
it's the only stance I have.
Well, then me and your stances are in alignment.
Great. I definitely have more stances than that. I'm not a monster. Yeah, great. Okay, cool. That's amazing. I did not know that.
Yes.
If you're interested in following me, I'm not running for anything, but I'm on Instagram at Ideal Remake, spelled like the podcast, or I'm on BlueSky at Sam Gasch, SamGasch. And yeah, if you want to tell me about how, like, when you remember seeing Uncle Buck for the first time, I would love to hear about it. And you can tell me on the Dueling Genre Discord, which has a link in the show notes of this episode. But for now, that's it. We remade Uncle Buck. So I will end this episode the same way I end every episode. Myles, what is your favorite quote from the movie Uncle Buck?
Ooh. My favorite quote isn't even a quote. It's the sound the car makes when it backfires.
Yeah, every time. Good, I love that.
Yes.
It's such a funny running bit. To
yes.
the point where they set their clock to it.
Yes.
And it's also like, bang, Buck's here.
Yep.
and just like, but like, this movie came out in, what, 1989?
Yeah.
1989. And like, the car backfires and all the kids hit the deck.
Yes.
And that's even more relevant
exactly.
now. Like, how did any of them know how to do that in 1989?
Exactly. Like, it's a timeless, perfect bit that only gets better with age.
It's so good. Amazing. Great. Love it.